I always believed that time softened wounds, that years made memories fade, that distance erased the sharp edges of pain. But all of those beliefs shattered the night my daughter knocked on my door, years after choosing a man who almost destroyed her life. She stood there trembling, soaked in rain and fear, whispering a name I never wanted to hear again. Mom, he found me. And that was the moment I truly understood something. Some betrayals don't fade. Some mistakes don't stay buried. Some monsters don't stay gone. Sometimes they come back, demanding a final reckoning. My name is Evelyn Carter. Most people who knew me would describe me as ordinary, just a simple woman who went to work, paid her bills on time, cooked dinner, and tried her best to be the kind of mother who fixed everything with a hug and a warm meal. But behind my calm smile, behind every school drop-off, every birthday cake I carefully baked, every tired goodnight, and every quiet prayer I whispered, I carried a storm I never let anyone see. And that storm had a name: Tyler. My daughter's husband. He entered our lives like a polished coin, shiny at first glance, hollow once examined. He carried himself with fake charm, a rehearsed smile, and eyes that looked kind only until you looked deep enough to see the coldness beneath. From the beginning, something inside me recoiled. A quiet voice whispered, "He is dangerous." But as mothers often do, I ignored my instincts because my daughter was in love. And love makes the young blind and makes the old break. This is the story of how I lost my daughter and how I fought like hell to get her back. I still remember the first dinner Tyler attended at our home. My daughter was glowing, her cheeks flushed with excitement as she brought him through the door. The kind of excitement that made her speak too fast and laugh too loudly. Tyler shook my hand with a grip that was a little too tight, like he wanted to show control from the very first moment. His eyes drifted around the house, lingering a second too long on things that did not matter. Picture frames, furniture, the subtle aging of the walls. It wasn't curiosity, it was calculation. I smiled anyway. I wanted to trust her choice. But something inside me tightened, like a warning bell only a mother could hear. Still, I silenced it. My daughter laughed that night, but something behind her smile felt strained. I told myself I was imagining it. I told myself to be supportive. But I should have trusted that first warning. The signs began small, barely noticeable to anyone but a mother who paid attention. My daughter canceled our weekly coffee. Then she stopped replying to my messages as quickly. Then she stopped visiting unless Tyler came with her. Her laughter became lighter, thinner, almost nervous. Her eyes stopped sparkling the way they used to. Whenever I asked, she brushed me off. "Mom, Tyler just wants us to spend more time together. It's normal." But love doesn't pull you away from family. Control does. Every time she visited, she looked over her shoulder, checked her phone constantly, kept glancing at the time as if she was afraid of being late. I wanted to intervene. I wanted to scream, "He's isolating you." But I bit my tongue, because pushing her too hard would only push her further into his arms. And that terrified me more than anything. When they announced their engagement, I forced a smile so tight it felt painful. Everyone else clapped, hugged, celebrated. Everyone else saw a beautiful young couple stepping into a bright future. But I saw fear behind my daughter's smile, a quiet pleading in her eyes. At the wedding reception, as music played and guests danced, I watched her with a heaviness in my chest. She floated through the room like a ghost wearing a bride's dress. When I hugged her goodnight, she held on to me with trembling hands and whispered, "Mom, don't let go." Those 3 words haunted me, because somewhere deep down, I think she already knew what she was walking into. After the wedding, everything changed, fast. Her life stopped being her own. Tyler controlled her money. Tyler controlled where she went. Tyler controlled what she wore. Tyler controlled who she spoke to. Tyler controlled her. Whenever she came home to visit, her shoulders stayed tense, her eyes darted around, her fingers picked at her sleeves. Classic signs of someone living in fear. I begged her to leave him. She begged me to stop bringing it up. Because every time she even thought about leaving, Tyler reminded her that he could ruin her life in ways she didn't want to imagine. It started with raised voices, then broken items, then threats whispered through clenched teeth, and then the breaking point. A mother always knows. That night, something inside me felt wrong, an aching sense of dread that kept me awake long past midnight. Then the phone rang. My daughter's voice was barely a whisper, trembling, terrified. "Mom," he snapped. I could hear chaos behind her, shattering sounds, heavy footsteps, her ragged, panicked breathing. I didn't think. I didn't hesitate. A mother doesn't listen to fear when her child is in danger. She begged me not to come. "Mom, if he sees you, please don't come here." But I was already grabbing my keys. When I arrived, she was standing outside the house with nothing more than a backpack and broken hope. Her face was streaked with tears, her clothes wrinkled, her hands trembling violently from fear. "Let's just go," she whispered. And we did, without looking back. That night, she slept like a child, curled up on my couch, finally safe. But safety is fragile, and trauma clings. Months passed. I watched her slowly try to rebuild herself. Some days she laughed, some days she cried for hours, some days she couldn't step outside without shaking. Every sound startled her, every knock made her freeze, every phone vibration made her panic. But gradually, she grew stronger. I allowed myself to hope, until one afternoon she shattered that hope with a single sentence. "Mom, I want to try again." It felt like someone punched the air out of my chest. Try again? With the man who almost destroyed her? She insisted he apologized. She insisted he changed. She insisted she needed to give him another chance. I cried like I hadn't cried in years. I begged. I pleaded. I even fell to my knees. But she left anyway. And losing her that time hurt worse than the first, because I knew exactly what she was walking back into. The next 2 years were a slow, silent hell. Tyler monitored everything she did. Her calls were short, nervous. Her messages lacked emotion, like someone was watching her type. Sometimes she responded with a single emoji, a quiet way of saying, "I'm here, but I'm not allowed to talk." I sent messages anyway. "I love you. You're not alone. I will always be here. Please come home." Most went unanswered, but I never stopped sending them, because a mother never stops trying. Then, one stormy night, it happened again. A violent knock shattered the silence at 2 a.m. When I opened the door, my daughter stood there, soaking wet, shaking so violently her teeth chattered. "Mom, I left him. This time, for good." There was no hesitation in her voice, no fear of regretting the decision, only exhaustion and desperation to be free. "He said he'll find me," she whispered, voice breaking. "He said I'll never make it without him." I held her face gently and said, "You are free now." But deep down, I knew the truth. Some men don't let go. Some men only understand control, and Tyler was one of them. 3 weeks later, it began. A black car with tinted windows parked across the street. Same model he drove, same slow engine idle, same unsettling stillness. My daughter glanced at the window and all the color drained from her face. "Mom, it's him." I closed the curtains, locked the doors, turned on every camera, grabbed my phone. But he didn't leave. He watched. He waited. He studied the house like a predator studying prey. The police arrived, but Tyler drove off seconds before they reached him. No proof, no arrest, no safety. My daughter sobbed into my chest, shaking uncontrollably. "I can't live like this anymore." And that was the moment I realized we weren't running from him anymore. We were preparing for war. I became a woman on a mission. I changed the locks, upgraded security, installed cameras everywhere, contacted lawyers, filed reports, gathered evidence, documented every suspicious car, every phone call, every appearance. And slowly, my daughter stopped shaking. She stood taller, spoke clearer, breathed easier. Piece by piece, she took her power back. The confrontation wasn't planned. It happened at the grocery store. We were walking out with bags in hand when he stepped from behind a concrete pillar. My daughter froze in terror. My heart dropped. Tyler walked toward us with a smirk painted across his face. "You really think you can keep her from me?" I stepped in front of her, even though my legs were trembling. "You don't control her anymore," I said firmly. His smirk faded. But the moment that changed everything was when my daughter stepped out from behind me, no longer trembling, no longer helpless. With a steady voice, she said, "You don't own me. You never did. And if you come near me again, you're going to jail." Tyler's confidence cracked. He wasn't expecting her strength. He wasn't expecting to lose control. Security approached. He backed away. And for the first time, he realized he had lost. A month later, after every report, every documented moment, every shred of evidence, Tyler was arrested. Not for love, not for heartbreak, but for stalking, harassment, violation of a protective order. My daughter cried in my arms, not from fear, but from relief. For the first time in years, she was free. Today, my daughter is rebuilding her life, one peaceful breath at a time. A new apartment, a new job, new friendships, new confidence, and a strength she never believed she could have. We still double-check the locks sometimes. We still share quiet moments of fear. Healing is slow. Trauma doesn't disappear overnight. But we survived, and survival itself is victory. I learned something through all of this. A mother cannot stop her child from breaking, but she can be the place where her child learns to heal. My daughter didn't come back to me as the fragile girl who left. She came back as the woman she fought to become. And when she smiles now, free, fearless, and finally alive, I know one thing for certain. We won. The storm is finally over.